What made my father-in-law hand me a folder that ended my marriage at the altar? The organ music swelled, and every guest stood as the doors opened. But instead of my bride walking toward me, her father stepped through alone with a manila folder clutched against his chest. His face was gray and his hands were shaking. He walked past his wife in the front pew without looking at her. He walked past the bridesmaids, frozen in confusion. He stopped directly in front of me and pressed the folder into my hands. His voice cracked when he spoke. "I'm sorry, son. You deserve to know who you're marrying." The church erupted into whispers, and I stared at the man who was supposed to walk his daughter down the aisle, wondering why he looked like he had just witnessed a death. I met Vanessa 3 years ago at a charity gala where she was volunteering. She told me she spent her weekends helping underprivileged kids learn to read. She said her passion was giving back to the community. Her father, Gerald, was a retired detective who seemed to adore her. Her mother, Diane, treated me like the son they never had. Everything about Vanessa was perfect. She cried at sad movies and remembered every anniversary and called her parents every Sunday without fail. I proposed after 18 months, and she said yes before I finished the question. I thought I was the luckiest man alive. I thought I had found someone pure and genuine in a world full of pretenders. 3 months before the wedding, Gerald started acting strange. He canceled our golf games at the last minute. He avoided eye contact during family dinners. Once I caught him staring at Vanessa with an expression I could not read. When I asked if something was wrong, he said he was just feeling nostalgic about losing his little girl. I believed him because why would a father lie about something like that? But the week before the wedding, he called me at midnight. His voice was hoarse like he had been drinking. He asked me if I really knew who Vanessa was. I laughed and said I knew everything about her. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Sometimes the people we love the most are the best at hiding who they really are." I asked him what that meant. He hung up without answering. I opened the folder while 200 guests watched in silence. The first page was a background check with Vanessa's photo and a different name. Her real name was Catherine Marsh, and she had a criminal record in 3 states. The second page showed court documents from a civil lawsuit filed by a man named William Porter, who claimed she had stolen $60,000 from his business account while they were engaged. The third page was a newspaper clipping about a man named David Hollister, who took his own life after discovering his wife had been living a double life. His wife's name was Catherine Marsh. She was listed as a person of interest in the investigation, but charges were never filed. The fourth page was a photo of Vanessa standing at David Hollister's funeral, wearing the same pearl necklace she had shown me 2 weeks ago. She told me it belonged to her grandmother. Gerald grabbed my arm and pulled me away from the altar. His eyes were wet with tears he was fighting to hold back. He told me he ran her prints last month after she asked him to destroy some old files from his detective days. He said the files contained evidence from the Hollister investigation that could implicate her if anyone ever reopened the case. She didn't know he had already read every page. She didn't know he had spent the last month rebuilding the trail she thought she had erased. He told me his real daughter, Catherine, died in his heart the moment he realized she had driven a man to suicide and felt nothing. The woman I was about to marry was a stranger wearing his daughter's face. The church doors burst open, and Vanessa appeared in her wedding gown looking like an angel descended from heaven. She saw the folder in my hands, and her expression shifted. The warmth drained from her eyes. Her smile froze into something mechanical. She walked toward us with her bouquet still clutched in her fingers and stopped 10 feet away. She looked at her father with pure hatred. "You promised you would never tell." Her voice was ice. Gerald stepped forward, and his whole body was trembling. "I promised to protect you when you deserved protection. You don't deserve it anymore." Vanessa lunged at him, and her veil flew off as she clawed for the folder. I pulled it away, and she stumbled against a pew. She screamed that her father was lying. She screamed that I was making a mistake, but her mascara was running, and her perfect composure had shattered, and for the first time I saw the real person behind the performance. I dropped the folder on the altar and pulled off my boutonniere. I told her the wedding was over, and I was going to make sure every victim she had ever created knew exactly where to find her. She screamed that I would regret this for the rest of my life. Gerald was already on the phone with his former partner at the police department. Vanessa tried to run, but 2 of my groomsmen blocked the exit. Her mother, Diane, was sobbing in the front pew, asking how she raised a monster. The guests were pulling out their phones, recording everything. Vanessa's perfect world collapsed in 3 minutes flat. Vanessa was arrested that evening in her wedding dress. The Hollister case was reopened, and 4 more victims came forward within a week. She is currently facing multiple counts of fraud and 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. Gerald testified against his own daughter and told the courtroom he would rather lose her forever than let her destroy another innocent life.